All right. Welcome back to the Breakthrough series with Team VP Fit, where we highlight nurses and clients transforming not only their bodies, but their mind, their health through our metabolic burn system. Today, I'm super pumped because we have Ashley, who's a psychiatric nurse practitioner who started as a former trauma ER nurse and also a mom to a beautiful daughter named Michaela. So yeah, when you joined Team VP Fit, I know you wanted to just tone up your body, postpartum, you want to get your energy back up, but most importantly, you wanted a routine that you can do this sustainably and do it long term. And hey, you're a couple months into the program, you're down
When
13
I first got
pounds,
here,
you're looking insane,
I thought the head
you
of
feel
the
more
CHS
confident.
nurses was
And
an
so
Indian.
I want to dive into your story today. You ready?
What's up, right?
Yeah. Cool. So let's start off. What was it like for joining Team VP Fit? Walk us through kind of some of the challenges that you had.
So I had tried different things before TEAMVPFIT. Years ago, this was before pregnancy. I had hired a trainer, great guy, family friend. He really knows his shit, but he trains like Miss America or Miss USA contestants, and that's not me. That's not what I aspire to be at all. So his approach, though, I mean, yes, results, yes, but not sustainable in the long run for me. And I very quickly fell off the bandwagon. And then over the years, I tried a couple of different things. I think I was doing like Pilates classes at one point, and then pregnancy. I gained a lot of weight with my pregnancy very rapidly. So that was really hard on my joints, my back. And although I lost most of the weight postpartum, I was just like, my metabolism wasn't the same because I was used to being a little reckless in my 20s where I could eat whatever I wanted and bounce back and I'd be fine the next day. I wouldn't be bloated. I wouldn't gain 5 pounds overnight. But now I was experiencing all of that. So fast forward to earlier this year.
Yeah. And I appreciate you sharing. And how did it feel? And I mean, it must feel frustrating because you work with the coach and trainer before, you're showing up, you're doing the work, you're doing the research, but you also felt like you had some metabolic issues. Like how did that feel that you were trying? Because it wasn't that you weren't motivated. It was just it wasn't working. How did that feel? Because a lot of women and nurses share that same kind of frustration.
Yeah, I think yes, it was frustrating. I was like, I'm doing all these things. Pilates classes are not cheap. And, I was saying no to food at family functions. I was saying no to, special events or dinners at places. And then I would ping pong to the opposite, like, F it, I'm just going to eat whatever. And so there's a lot of back and forth on that. Because I was like, if I'm not really seeing any results doing all this work, then what's the point? I'm just going to eat whatever. And like I have some basic knowledge of nutrition, some basic knowledge of exercise. So I was like, what is not clicking? What is not, I'm just, my work is not translating to results here. So, and on top of that, it took so much thought, so much planning and preparation. And don't get me wrong, it does now too, but like I was like, okay, I have so many things on my plate as a mom, as an NP, everything as like I need to take this thing off my plate. I need someone else to step in, create that like structured system for me and just tell me what to do. Just tell me what to do. I'm done trying to blindly feel my way on my own.
And was that the breaking point for you where you're like,
Yeah.
just don't want to have to add one more thing to my plate? Or like, what was
Yeah.
that? You were like, you know what? Like, I do need to make that jump because it is a decision. It's not an easy decision, right? You made an investment in yourself. But like, yeah, I'm curious, what was that breaking point for you? Was it that it was just too much
I
to
I feel like it was that. I was like, okay, I need to outsource something. I need to outsource something. Like I've got so many other things going on. Like if I could have done it myself, I think I could have. But I got too many other things going on. I needed to outsource and like delegate and just in a way like freed up part of my brain space to do the things that I need to do in life and also still make results in this area of my life. And that just compounds it to results in all the other areas as well.
That's so important. I think I love that you mentioned that, Ashley, because I truly believe a lot of moms, working moms, need to think like that because you have so much on your plate, right? Like you're showing up for your patient load, you're showing up for your colleagues, you're showing up for not just one, two, you're showing up for everybody, let alone your family members as well. And so delegating is actually a very smart strategy. So you can actually not just have time, but that mental piece that I think a lot of people don't think about, that I'm so glad you brought that up. And I guess I got to ask, how did you make this all work with work and also being a mom? I'm sure that's the question that's popping up. How do you make this all work? That's like, what's your secret?
Meaning while in this program, you guys have been very supportive. Everything has been laid out. It's very well structured and organized. Generally, I can find the answer. And if I don't know where to find the answer, or, you guys are both very available to answer my questions. And I totally wasn't expecting this, but many times you or Jen have answered in real time. And it's been super helpful for me to like correct my form while I'm in the gym right there, then and there. Or I'm at the grocery store. I'm in the sauce aisle looking at all the different sauces, and I'm like, where do I even start? And you came in with the recommendations. And oh snap. So like that has meant a lot to me, having that support and being able to adjust things, tweak things, come up with stuff as needed. um and then I have to say my family, they're very supportive. My husband, my father-in-law, um, they both have like really helped out with making sure that I have time to go and work out, time to, meal prep and do all of these things. Yeah, they've been very supportive of that. And I think also they've noticed like the change in my energy levels, just my overall health. Like I have gotten sick here and there because yay, TK germs, but it's been pretty mild.
Mm,
It's been a while.
wow.
Yeah, and I used to do that pretty frequently because TK germs. So, yeah, I feel like my family's been very supportive, and I think they have noticed a change. I've noticed a change as well.
That's all.
So, yeah, and also in the same spirit of like outsourcing this whole training thing, Instacart, my Costco same day orders, all of that has really helped with making sure that I have those staples in my house all the time without spending like a lot of time grocery shopping. That just takes me forever. Like I step into the grocery store and I get
Mm.
lost. Instacart, Costco, same day, like that helps me focus and just buy what I need and not get distracted by everything else.
I love that. There's nothing worse, right, than going to a grocery store too and you're hungry, or you're just like, oh my gosh, you get caught. Not only you're wasting time, but then I start buying a bunch of like things that I don't need because those snack aisles are very enticing. Actually, that's a great tip, is to Instacart and get your Costco same day delivery, because you can also, it saves your card. We just kind of redo that, which is great.
Yeah.
I think you
You can
you made
just buy it again.
you just reorder, right? And it becomes just,
Yeah.
I think you have such a great mindset around delegation and automating things that is so key for other nurses and moms kind of similar in your situation. So I appreciate you sharing that. But one thing that you mentioned that I think is really, really key is that you have a supportive husband and also your family and your father-in-law. That was so key because honestly, Ashley, I talked to so many moms in your situation, or nurses, and they want to do this, they want to prioritize their health, but then the husband usually is like, just do this on your own, or I'm a coach you, or like, just eat how I eat, right? How was that
And
conversation?
what works for my husband does not work for me.
Yes.
And he's on his
Walk
own
us through,
fitness
how was
journey.
that? Like, how was that conversation when you joined? Like,
I think, he's on his own fitness journey, but he's the type of person who he can just cut out soda and drop 20 pounds just like that. And that's all he has to do. He loves to run. I hate running. If I'm in a fight or flight situation, I'd rather stay to fight and then lay down and accept my fate. Yeah, but he's always been supportive of like fitness, me finding my own fitness routine. But as for, what works for me as, a smaller female, he doesn't know. He doesn't pretend to know. Let's give him that credit too. I think when it comes to diet, that's where it was a bit more of a challenge. He was like, what the heck is all this? Like, why do you have to eat like that? Like when we go out, you better not be like picking at your food or ordering only an appetizer. I'm like, no, this is like building blocks. And like now I'm at the point where we can go out to eat. I can fully enjoy myself.
Mm.
We can order whatever we want. And I'm not like racked with guilt or like, oh my God, I'm gonna regret this tomorrow. Um, I'm not. I have that freedom.
Awesome. I love hearing that win. I think that's so key. And I love that you get to have that balance going out. What are some things that as you're going through this program, what were some things that maybe your husband shared with you that he noticed, whether it's your energy or, just your transformation? Like, was there anything, like he called out?
Yeah, but it's NSFW. All good things, all good things.
All great things, which
Yeah,
is
he's
it.
liking it.
That's all you guys need to know. So I love that. And I'm curious then, like you had a coach before, you did programs before, you did Pilates. Like, what made this program feel different for you, Ashley?
Okay, the first time around with the trainer that was coupled with diet, it was just so restrictive. It was so restrictive. The diet was so restrictive. And so I felt so like weak and unmotivated in the gym. And this was with my trainer like standing over me and literally helping me count my reps. Like this was in person. And I thought I needed that. I really thought I needed that. I thought I needed someone to like stand there and like do this. So honestly, I'm a little surprised myself at my own motivation to get in the gym and do this every day without you actually like watching me, you know? What is different? Well, I think I had one, you guys fed me well in the beginning
That's a
when
great
we were
day.
doing that what's the word for it? I forgot the word.
Reverse diet.
Yes, the reverse diet. So like when I first started in the gym, like I had enough energy and calories in order to do what was being asked of me. And yes, we started gentle. And I had a lot of like gym go to my gym and um depending on the time of day. I eventually found a time of day that worked for me. Not necessarily like the crowd, well, also the crowd because things get used or taken. But like, I really like my gym because it's mostly like older folks. It's really sweet, and so I'm working out next to grandma and grandpa. So yeah, I think I found that just overall it was much more realistic. A much more realistic goal. Everything was done in like increments. It was very like thoughtful and well planned out. There's like a strategy to it. Obviously, with my first trainer, there was strategy, but it was just so hard and like so arduous. And I remember being such a raging bee the first 2 weeks because I drastically cut my carbs.
Wow.
I was apologizing to everyone. Miserable. It's just hard. So hard. And this was before I had kids, before all of that. So I was like, I'm going to try and like focus on this. Anyways, but then fast forward to like once I had kids and I was doing like Pilates classes, it was just very like whenever I could fit it in. At one point, I was going like every week, but I wasn't coupling that with diet. I viewed it as my way of like trying to stay even with my diet, like trying to like work off whatever I ate. But it wasn't gonna work that way. I didn't really know that at that time.
Totally. And I love that you mentioned that too, because a lot of women do think that they need an in-person trainer to like tell them like, do the rep and count. Let me count it for you. 1, 2, 3, 4,
Hmm.
then. But what you notice is that you went through that process and then now you're surprised to yourself that you don't need me or Jen over your shoulder doing the workout and you're just doing it. But not only that, you're seeing more progress. You're able to eat out. You have enough calories. We're not cutting your carbs and you're doing it in a methodical way that actually fits into your lifestyle. And I think that's so important because a lot of people think that, let's say, online coaching is like, not as effective as in person. But my thing is always like, are you always going to have someone right next to you telling you to do the reps forever? Yeah, right. Your goal is to eventually do it on your own. So we might as well get you to a point where you can do it on your own because eventually the goal is that you don't need me or Jen or an app that you just live this lifestyle. And the fact is you're doing this right now is setting yourself up for success. And I think that's really important to note. And, like also with you mentioning having a busy schedule, like you have a demanding career, first of all. You have a daughter. Why was this the right time to do it anyways? Like, what was this the right time to jump into this program and really prioritize your health? Like, what? That's, you know?
Have a tendency when I'm already freaking busy to overload myself further. So why not? But also, I think because of the demands of my schedule and everything, I finally made this like conscious choice that I need to get myself right so that I can perform my best because I don't really have a choice. I have to perform at peak function in all these different areas of my life.
And what would you say to someone who is waiting for the perfect time?
Oh, there's no perfect time. There's no perfect time. You're only going to get older. You're only going to get more tired. Your kids are only going to have more activities and extracurriculars in their life. It's only it's only going to get worse. It's like I told my girlfriends, I'm like, no, you should take the pictures now. Take the pictures now. You're never going to look that hot again. Just do it now.
That's funny. And now that you went through this, how has this transformation also affected your relationship with your daughter, right? Because like you said, like the activities are going to pack on. They're going to get crazy. You might as well do it now. But here's like, now that you're, gone through this, how's this transformation affect your relationship with your daughter, Ashley?
She is actually very interested in my workouts. She loves yoga. She's like obsessed with yoga. She's been obsessed for a good almost year straight now. And this was even before VP Fit when I was going to yoga classes at my gym. And she was like, "Mom, are you gonna go do yoga? I'm gonna do yoga." And she would just bust out random moves and she'd be like, "Mommy, what's that pose?
Warrior
What's this
too.
pose?" Yes. And, at night, we do stretches together. She likes going to the gym with me because they do have, like, childcare there, so she goes to their little activity center. She thinks it's really fun. But she knows, like, this is the time that mommy goes to the gym and I work out or I do yoga classes or whatever, and we do that stuff at home too.
That's so touching to hear. How does it feel that you get to model health and confidence for her at this stage because she's seeing mom go to the gym. She's seeing mom prioritize fitness. How does it feel that you get to model that?
I think that's super important just for it to be like normal and part of routine for her. Personal fitness is important for anyone, but also everyone's genetics are different. I was able to slide for a long time. I don't know if my daughter will get the same genes. I think I know that encouraging, an active lifestyle is going to be important. And she's got a lot of energy. She's an active kid. So I want to have like appropriate channels for her to work out the energy.
That's so important because it touches home for me because I wouldn't be doing this if it wasn't for my mom who resonates with me because I saw her in the healthcare as a healthcare professional, burned out, not being able to make it to my basketball games. I have two younger brothers. I'm the oldest of three. And so I saw what it was like. But I remember her actually signing up for Fitness USA. And all of a sudden she was going there like every day or like when she was off and she would take me with her. And so at the time it was building it in my subconscious, not realizing it that like 10, 15 years later, I'm doing what I do now. And so I think that is so important. And I don't want to discredit that from you, Ashley, because you are truly building someone, mini me, who is going to live this lifestyle down the road. And I think that is so freaking badass. And I just have to tell you that. And it makes me emotional as well when I get to work with people like you and see you get to lead by example. I think that's absolutely amazing. And so, yeah, like that's powerful. And let's shift gears a little bit before I start crying here. So you've lost 13 pounds. You lost 13 pounds. How does that feel? Like, how does it feel physically, mentally, confidence? Walk us through. Like, you've had a pretty crazy transformation. Yeah, walk us through.
Yeah. I remember at the beginning of the program, I kept saying to you, like, "Oh, I'm not too focused on the number on the scale." I was okay with the number. I wasn't okay with my body composition. I wasn't expecting that I would get to, drop that much, but it's trippy fitting into clothes from like pre-pregnancy that I had held on to just in case. I'm glad I did. I'm like, see, that was justified. So yeah, that's been pretty cool. Yeah, it's a really big change. You said something about like not being able to recognize myself. That's how I felt before. And now I'm like, okay, okay, I can see me again. I'm obviously, I carried a child. That's a big deal. It has its changes that comes with it. I accept that. But at the same time, I'm like, I feel stronger. I feel more energy. I do feel like I'm better than I was pre-pregnancy. And I know that as we get into like the bulking phase, building more, I expect that the number will increase again, but this time it'll be different composition. And that was the big thing for me. I'm like not happy with my muscle to fat ratio here. Like that's really what needed to change above all. Like I wasn't like married to a specific number
And
on
I'm
the
glad
scale.
Yeah, and I'm glad you see it that way because you are primed to put on lean muscle, which is very, very healthy from a longevity standpoint. So as you're entering your building stage, like you're only going to look better, you're only going to feel better, and you're only going to protect yourself from 10, 20, 30, 40 years down the road with the more muscle you have. So yeah, you're absolutely crushing it there. And it's very inspiring to hear that you save your clothes from, pre-pregnancy now you're fitting in postpartum. You just mentioned that you look and feel
Yeah.
good postpartum than like prior. Like that is so
Yeah.
freaking awesome. Like,
Yeah.
man, there's so many moms postpartum that are like, I'm throwing in the towel. What would you tell those moms, honestly, that are probably going to be listening to this because it's going to be on a podcast? Like, what do you have to say? Because you are an example.
So I had this idea that I was like, if so after everything that I went through with the first pregnancy, which honestly it was a chill pregnancy, I can't complain in that aspect. But then what it did postpartum, that was a different story. I was like, what is this? What is this? And I said, well, what's the point of getting fit or, toning my body or whatever if I'm gonna get pregnant again and ruin my body again? Like why do all this work just to get fat again? And then I had like this mindset shift. I can't even tell you exactly what sparked that, but then I finally realized that I need to be healthy and in good shape and to prepare for my next pregnancy so that it doesn't hit me as hard as it did the first time with the sudden 50-pound weight gain. And so that like my body is better able to support that and better able to recover afterwards and not feel like so overwhelmed the way I was postpartum. And every pregnancy is different. Every postpartum period is different. I get that. But I now see like a lot of value in um like priming my body. Whether or not that happens in the near future, far future, like I'm in good shape uh for that. It's not like a waste of time fixing my body now to ruin it later. It's not like that.
I think that's really important because yes, that priming is so valuable because now you feel confident. First of all, you feel confident coming to the next pregnancy because like, my body's resilient, but you also bounce back so much faster. And you see the value in, oh my gosh, if I were to prime, it would actually make the recovery process 10 times easier than trying to fix everything. And so we actually have a lot of, women on our fertility coaching program who's they're priming their body for pregnancy. That's absolutely amazing. And so I appreciate you sharing that with us. Were there any other wins? I guess it's like, what were some of the biggest wins that you noticed? Like, I know you had crazy body recomposition. Any other wins? Any other, things you noticed?
Also, just having better energy to keep up with my daughter. She's very active, a lot going on. And I feel bad telling her, Mommy's tired, Mommy had a long day at work, or I don't have time to do this or whatever. Like, I don't like saying that to her. But like I used to be so wiped out on my days off that there was no time or energy to do anything extra. I used to like only take her places. Granted, she's a little bit older now, but I used to only take her places if I had one more adult with me, my husband, grandma, grandpa, friends. Like I felt very like I can't handle her on my own. She's at the age where she's 4. Every so often she's like, my legs are tired. I can't do this. Mommy, carry me. I felt bad not being able to like carry her. She's a big kid.
Mhm.
She's tall. So now, I mean, I'm not saying that I've turned into Superwoman. I still only carry her short distances, but like if I had to, I could. If she decided not to. It's just I used to like be afraid of taking her places by myself
Wow.
because of stuff like that. Because some days she would just be like, carry me.
I'd be like, please don't.
I'm like,
I
my back can't. I can't. But now I feel better able to, keep up with her physically, not just carrying, but like running and, doing different activities.
Yeah,
So
watch
I
watch
think
when watch when
that's really
mom
big.
or a building stage, we're gonna that's where barometer of a success there is how far you can carry her.
Yeah.
She is like ready for just
Yeah.
mom, pick
But
me
don't
up.
forget, she's growing too.
Yeah. So that's what we call progressive overload. You see? Oh
That's
wait,
true.
get
Yep.
low,
Yeah. Yeah.
you are gonna have to build more muscle. So it all it's in your favor. That's awesome. I appreciate you sharing that. And I want to run down a couple of questions to kind of finish off this. Like, I guess the main thing is like, what would you say to someone who's cost of investing in coaching?
Yeah. It is an investment. It is a lump sum up front, or I mean, you guys are flexible with payment plans, but I feel there was a lot of value for what I put in financially. Because I'm comparing to what I paid for my previous trainer. I'm comparing to what I used to pay for Pilates classes. Like this kind of comprehensive approach, the amount of support, how accessible you guys are, how you really like tailor the program and customize it. Like, I mean, there are certain things that I just hate doing certain exercises, or certain things just don't work for me. I hate cottage cheese. I still eat it, but
Feel you. I hear you.
there just like the level of customization and personalization, and like I mentioned earlier, like the real-time interaction, feedback, support, like I feel that adds a lot of value to the program. The app works really well. Everything is very well laid out and organized. I've paid for some other like fitness ebooks, and that were not organized at all. Um I just feel like over the years I have spent quite a bit of money on different things. Um This seemed very, I don't know, I feel like I got a lot of bang for my buck. I mean, you can see in the results, but also just overall and the amount of knowledge and like the community talks that you guys do, the um scheduled calls.
Mhm.
I'm not always able to join live, but I watch the recordings or I like read the slides. It's a lot of info. You don't keep those too long, thank goodness, because my attention span, and also we're just also
We do
busy,
that
right?
we do that in intention because we know.
I know, yeah, and like the amount of info that you manage to pack into these short, quick, very informative calls, very practical stuff that I'm able to apply and use for that same week. Yeah, and, like the knowledge. There's just like a lot of value. So yes, it is an investment. You do have to also think down the road if you want to be spending all this on medical bills. I've worked bedside for 10 years. I've seen the flip side where you don't put in that initial investment early on in your life, whether it's this or that. Again, if I were able to do it on my own, I would, but I couldn't, I can't. I'm having a great time now. Um, Now that I've asked for help and taken it.
And I want to call it out that getting help and support is not a sign of weakness. And I think a lot of people get stuck in that because I was stuck in that too personally. But I have a coach, I have a business coach. Like I'm constantly looking for delegation and support because someone else out there has put in 10,000 hours, has been in your situation. You might as well get the answer a lot quicker. Right. And I think that's also important to know. And the fact that you mentioned it is an investment because there is that unintended cost of medication down the road that you see as a nurse firsthand what it's like when you don't put in the work early. And so I love that you were able to frame that. I think that's really important to note. And my last question is what would you say to a fellow nurse or mom who feels burned out or just stuck?
And this kind of ties into the last question too, because if you're a mom or a nurse and you're sitting down, you're looking at this cost and like, do I have the time? Do I have the resources to put into this anyways? I think a big thing for me was like how much it took a load off my mental plate. It's the amount of like emotional and mental labor that a lot of women, a lot of moms put into running a household, their family, their kids' lives, let alone there's no time left for you. Um, like you need to get it right. You only have so many hours in a day. I was wasting a bunch of time trying to figure it out on my own in like a very piecemeal way. But there's no way to really quantify the value of that mental burden and all the time wasted and all the time that you could save by, you know, cutting straight to it, getting straight to it and getting the results that you need. And there's no way to put a price on the time that I'm spending with my daughter now. Or the values that I'm modeling for my daughter. And I don't think there's really going to be a way to quantify what the long-term effects, of having built this kind of foundation. I didn't mention this earlier, but in my family, I'm like double loaded for diabetes. I've always believed it's a matter of when, not if. And maybe it still is, but I do feel like I'm a lot better prepared to deal with that, or at least I think I'm delaying it. And I've seen like the cost and the time and the expense associated with chronic disease in both sides of my family. So as well as my patients. So yeah, I feel like you really can't you can't let that be you think about all these burdens like right here and now, or these barriers, sorry, but you gotta think in the long run. If you have kids, you gotta think of that long term effect.
Thanks for voicing that. I think a lot of people need to hear that more. And it's nice to hear that from some like you're leading that by example. And I hope you know that Ashley, like you are inspiring so many nurses, so many women, moms out there who are kind of in this situation that haven't thought about that. And I've seen it happen time and time again. Sometimes someone just needs one piece to shift, and that would change the trajectory of their life, but not only for them, but for their kids and their future kids, because we're truly breaking generational patterns and habits coming from an immigrant household.
Yeah.
My
Yeah.
mom and dad do not know anything about health. I'm the first crazy one. And so I'm glad that you get to do that as well. And I just want to say, Ashley, thank you for trusting in TVP Fit. Thank you for trusting in me and in Coach Jen. And, you really give me a lot of purpose and fulfillment in what we get to do and what VP Fit means. So I just want to say thank you. And
Thank
I'm
you.
proud of you. You absolutely are crushing it. And,
Thank you.
and I would love to work with more people like you because you are a very fun and funny person as well. So, but yeah, like let's wrap up. I love talking about goals. Okay, so what are your goals? Like, what are you really focusing on now for, through the rest of this year and coming into 2026?
Um, so Jen says that well, right now I'm on a diet break because we just dealt with a round of getting sick and
Mhm.
all that. But it was so mild compared to previous cold foods that I've run through the family. Like it was so mild for me. I didn't even take time. So yeah, right now I'm on diet break, but once I get back to the cut, I think she said we're spending another month in this cut before we start the building phase. And once we build, I want to build a booty. I've told her that since day one. I want to build a booty.
Let's
So
go.
she knows that's the goal.
Okay.
And I want to be able to enjoy and have fun over the holidays, family functions and whatever, and not feel like I need to restrict myself. And also, I don't want to eat to the point where I like hate myself.
Yeah.
But also, I'm looking forward to putting those calories to good use.
Yeah. Yeah. And you have the mindset, the identity. Like I have no doubt that you're gonna come into this holiday, if anything, enjoying it and enjoying the most important thing, which is our family and the company, because like those are the moments that we don't get back. And I think some of us forget that like that's what we're really here for, right? Like that's why I love the holidays, because I get to be around my family, I get to be around my friends. And I think you're gonna absolutely come into that holiday with that mindset, and you're gonna come out of it stronger, better, happier, and having a great time. So, yeah, thanks for jumping on. And is there anything else you'd like to share on the top of your head that maybe we didn't get to cover or anything?
Well, not to take up too much more time, but what you mentioned about like, being present at family functions and all of that, you said that to me pretty early on in the program. I forget what the event was, but I mentioned like feeling a lot of guilt after a family function and feeling like, oh my God, I ate so much. That's so terrible, blah, blah, blah. And you were reminding me like, be present. Like, this is what's important. These are the moments that we can't miss. And that really like shifted my like guilty mindset to obviously now I've built the metabolism and a foundation where I can enjoy those events much more. And not feel like the physical consequences of it. But like that really helped shift my mindset. You sharing that early on in the program.
I think I either was in a group chat or like on a coaching call or something like that. But I'm glad. And I think, yeah, I think that changed it for me, because I was someone who had a bad relationship with food where I was so fixated on the food that I was forgetting why we're all gathering together in the first
Yeah, yeah,
right? Right. And
yeah.
so I think that simple shift of being present and just having gratitude changes everything. So I'm glad you feel good too. Awesome. Well, thanks, Ashley.
Thank you.